The relic was nothing more than a sliver of wood, a shard encased in a plastic frame. Just a token, one would think, until it found a place on his Titanic shelf, among other White Star Line memorabilia. The disturbances began soon after, at work, where he spent hours in an old house turned museum. A curious knocking sound came from the front porch. The source was never clear. And when he turned to investigate, an ancient, stubborn back door swung open. A feat it shouldn't have been capable of. When he reached out, the door slammed shut on its own, as if a spirit had grown impatient with his curiosity. His heart raced as the cold air thickened around him. Then came the voices, disembodied laughter, whispers, and the soft shuffle of footsteps filled the quiet house, growing loud. On the colder days, he would approach the door, expecting guests, but was always greeted by an empty porch. As winter deepened, so did the disturbances. Chairs rocked of their own accord. Something unseen pulled at his hide, touched his shoulder, and once, he even felt arms wrap around him in a cold, unwanted hug. And then, he heard her, a woman's soft, pleading voice calling him. "Help me, help me." It only stopped when he lit a fire, as if the warmth chased her back into the shadows. The spirits weren't only those in need. On a day spent in the grand house, the presence was as real as the wood and stone. Footsteps rattled the floor, invisible fingers traced his shoulder, and faint sounds of clinking glasses and rustling jewelry whispered of a world long gone. One spirit followed him, returning to his modest workplace. Heavy footsteps echoed, a firm hand rested on his shoulder, and the smell of fine liquor filled the room. He called this entity a presence that felt stronger, almost familiar, as though the lost luxury of the Titanic now haunted his quiet office. To this day, he can't be sure if these are indeed the spirits of Titanic passengers, but he knows with certainty that the haunting only began when he brought that tiny piece of the shipwreck home. A piece of history, perhaps, forever cursed. On colder days, the sounds shifted, becoming more unsettling. Children's laughter would rise, mingling with distant, haunting cries. Yet, every time he rushed to the porch to greet them, the air was empty. Often, it wasn't the sounds that disturbed him, but the subtle, chilling touches. A gentle, ghostly hand rested on his shoulder, as if someone were trying to get his attention. The touch was cold, insistent, and lingered. One night, as he closed up, the light above flickered. Surrounded eyes shifted on the walls, making the narrow hallway seem alive. He felt as if he was being watched, but no one was there. One evening, the pleading voice grew loud, echoing through his mind. "Help me," it whispered, soft yet piercing. Only when he lit a fire did the voice retreat, as if the warmth brought peace to her lost soul, only for a moment. Some spirits made their presence known through sound alone. Heavy footsteps thundered up the narrow stairs as if something invisible, yet weighty, was moving with purpose. He felt their presence with every step, but each time he looked, the stairs were empty. One night, the air grew impossibly cold, a chill wrapped around him. Ike's arms embracing him from behind. He shivered, his breath freezing in the air, yet no one was there. Only the relentless, ghostly cold. One night, his vision blurred, and for a fleeting moment, he felt as if he stood on a ship's deck, hearing the groan of wood, and feeling the icy breath of the sea. Shadows of long-lost passengers, in the fog, fading in and out, silent, yet desperate to be seen. He often caught glimpses of a woman in an old-fashioned dress, standing in the shadows, reaching out to him. Her face was a hazy blur, featureless, yet he felt her sorrow, her unspoken plea hanging heavy in the air. Each time he returned to the grand study, he felt them elegant figures pacing, sighing, filling the air with the smell of cologne and the rustle of jewelry. Though invisible to his eyes, he could feel the weight of their presence. As the weeks passed, he began smelling salt water. Even on the stillest days, the tang of the sea filled his room, a scent that grew sharper, more persistent, as if the shipwreck itself were leaking into his life. One night, as he sat in his office, the relic cast strange shadows. A faint handprint appeared on the glass, and he felt the weight of many eyes upon him, as if they were all reaching out, drawn to him by the relic he had claimed as his own. For every relic that survives, there is a story that never truly dies. This the hard way, haunted by memories that refuse to fade. Bound forever by a piece of Titanic's ghostly past.